Bandits destroy a widow's windmill, unaware she turned her ranch into a death trap. Out past Dry Creek, where cracked land baked under the summer sun and dust filled the air, stood the Harper Ranch. It wasn't much, just a sagging house, broken fences, and an old windmill. But it was home to Martha Harper, widow of Tom Harper, once the best trapper west of the POS. After Tom died 2 winters back, folks expected Martha to move into town like the others. But she stayed, alone except for her dog Rufus. She spent her days digging strange trenches, hauling water, and setting traps no one understood. People called her a crazy old bird. Then the Roar Gang arrived. 6 brutal men flying a scorched black flag. They robbed the bank, burned the sheriff's office, and shot anyone in their way. When they heard about the widow living alone, they rode out to Harper Ranch at dawn, expecting easy loot. Martha saw them coming and didn't run. She tied her apron, set coffee on the stove, and waited. The roars circled her windmill like vultures. Jebrock, the youngest, threw a stick of dynamite at it. The explosion leveled the windmill. Martha watched it fall with a heavy heart. But that was only the beginning. As the gang pressed onto her land, things went wrong fast. Nervous horses stumbled into water-filled pits lined with stakes. Riders were tossed into hidden ditches. Bullets flew, but Martha's traps didn't care. Tom had taught her well where to dig, where to flood, how to snare man or beast. No one expected water traps in a drought. 3 went down before the rest realized they were in a minefield. When they tried to escape, nets hidden under puddles yanked them into deeper traps. One fell into a cage under a trough. Another vanished into a pit of glass and thorns. In the end, only one made it back to his horse, riding for town. Babbling about a witch's land, Martha stepped onto her porch, shotgun in hand, and watched the sunrise over her ruined windmill. Dry Creek could rebuild. Her windmill could be fixed, but the Roar Gang wouldn't ride again. 2 Roar brothers were still alive. Jed, their leader, and Curtis, a brute of a man. Jed dragged Curtis from a pit, bloodied and cursing. Realizing too late they were deep in enemy ground, and the enemy was a silent widow with steel in her spine. "You think, you clever old hag," Jed shouted. "You're dead!" Martha didn't answer. She stepped off the porch. Jed raised his rifle, but the ground beneath him gave way. He fell waist-deep into a slick pit. Curtis charged, roaring, but Martha calmly raised her shotgun. Boom! He stumbled. She fired again. Boom! He dropped. Jed screamed, begging, "We can work this out! I've got money!" Martha walked up, hard-eyed. "You already cost me more than money could fix," she said. "You destroyed my husband's windmill," Jed begged. She knelt, poured kerosene around the pit, and lit a match. "This is my land," she said, dropping it. Flames roared. His screams vanished in the smoke. Martha returned to her porch, reloaded, and sat down. Rufus laid at her feet. Dry Creek would speak of that day for years. Some called her a witch, others a legend. But no one ever crossed Harper Ranch again. The sun had barely risen when the new sheriff arrived, Amos Clay, young and green. He saw the bodies, the traps, the scorched earth. "Mrs. Harper," he said, "you had some visitors." Martha said nothing, sipping cold coffee. He shifted uneasily. "By rights, I should arrest you. Dead men? Serious business." Martha looked him in the eye. "You want to arrest me, Sheriff Clay? You go right ahead." He saw the wreckage, thought of the men the roars had killed, looked at the calm widow and her shotgun. "No, ma'am," he said quietly. I reckon justice has already been served." He tipped his hat and rode away. Martha watched him go. She hadn't asked for war. But out here, you didn't wait for justice. You made it. As the sun set, she picked up Tom's old spade and began digging. She'd bury the dead herself. This was her land, and she defended it. Years passed. Dry Creek became a real town, but people never forgot Martha Harper, the widow who turned her ranch into a graveyard for outlaws. Stories spread, some true, some myth. They said she still walked her land each morning. Some swore she set new traps with every full moon. No one dared test it. One summer evening, long after Rufus had died and her hair had turned white, a fancy city man rode up. Some newspaper writer from Chicago wanted her story. "Ma'am, they say you beat the Roar Gang single-handed? That true?" Martha rocked in her chair, watching the sunset. Then she smiled. "Son," she said, "if you have to ask, you're standing on the wrong porch." He didn't stay long, and Harper Ranch remained what it always was, a hard stretch of land guarded by the last true predator the frontier ever knew.